So we're going to do more complete the square, but this time the complete the square is a little bit different. When we have complete the square and there is a leading coefficient other than 1, we have a couple extra steps to do. Now, I'm going to teach this one specific way because I have the ability of being able to tell the future. And I'm going to teach it the way that will help you the most in the future. Not that's going to help you just like right this second to make it a little bit faster, but what can help you in the future. All right? So if you might say, oh, well, can't we just do this? And I'll say, yeah, you can do that, but once you learn this process, that will help you in the future. All right. So what you're going to always start with is the exact same thing that we started with on 3-3 last week and on your assignment that we just graded. You're going to move that 15 over to the other side. You're going to get rid of that C term. And then what we're going to do is we're going to complete the square. So to complete the square, I'm going to put a square on both sides. But the complete the square process is not going to be different. Well, it's not going to be different. Use that extra steps. So you cannot do that b over 2 squared thing that we've been doing. You can't do that middle term divided by 2 squared to complete the square if there is a number in front other than 1. So we cannot have that 3 there. So what we're going to do is we're going to use factoring. We're going to factor out the 3 from all 3 terms. So we're going to factor out that 3. And we're going to put it in front. We have left over x squared plus 4x. We do not have a square anymore because this is not square anymore. This is whatever square divided by 3 is. I'm going to give it a different symbol because it's not the same thing as the square. I'm going to call it Fluffy Cloud. But I didn't do anything to the other side of the equal sign, so that the other side is still square. Okay, I'm only doing that to visualize that these two numbers are going to be different. They're not the same numbers that we're filling in. Okay? If you don't like fluffy clouds, you could use something else there, like a circle, or like a heart, or like a ice cream cone. I don't know. Just something different other than square. So now we're going to complete our square, but when we complete the square, we're going to use this middle number after we took the 3 out. So we're going to do 4 divided by 2 and square it. That's going to give me 2 squared, which is 4. So 4 goes in Fluffy Cloud. But Fluffy Cloud is not square. They are different numbers. They do not equal each other. So to get square, you have to distribute the 3 back in to Fluffy Cloud. You have to put it back in. So I multiply 3 times 4, and what goes in square? 12. So what we really did is on the left side, we added a 12 to it. It's just kind of in disguise. You don't see the 12 until you multiply the 3 back in. So we added 12, so we have to add the same to the other side to make them still equal. So now we're going to bring down the 3, and then we're going to factor the trinomial. On the other side, we'll add negative 15 plus 12, which is negative 3. So to factor this, remember we're going to have x, and then I don't remember if I said this or not, but the number that goes here is what you have before you square it. That number goes here. It's just the b divided by 2 part, so plus 2 squared. What I just said might help some of you in your assignment. There's a tricky one I gave you today.
So you don't square it then?
When you factor it, so here it's squared, but remember when you factor it, you've got 2 of the exact same thing. So it's like 2 times 2 to make the 4.
Yeah.
When you factor it, it's like square rooting basically. Once you've done that, you've completed the square, and now we just solve. So what can we do to both sides? We gotta peel away the layers to get x by itself. What's the first thing we have to get rid of? Nope, there's something further out than squares. The 3, what do I do with the 3? Divide by 3. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. And then we'll get x plus 2 squared equals negative 1. Now what? Okay, but if I square root, what else do I need to do? Plus or minus. If I square root, if I'm putting the square root symbol in, I'm also going to have to plus or minus. So we have x plus 2 here. Other side plus or minus. Do we know the square root of negative 1? Imaginary. So we minus our 2. We have x equals negative 2 plus or minus I. And this would be our 2 answers. So for the most part, it's almost exactly what we're going to do. Almost. Okay, so you're ready? Turn the page and we'll do a couple more together. And by yourself. So number 9, do you find number 9? What is the very first thing that we should do? Wait, oh. There. We're going to add that 6. First thing you want to do is move that C term over. After you move that C term over, before you can complete the square, that negative 3 cannot be in front of x squared. So you have to factor it out. I'm going to take out that negative 3. I'm going to write it in front. Parenthesis. Now I have x squared. What happens when I take negative 18 and I take out the negative 3? Positive 6x. What happens when I take a square and I divide it by negative 3? Not a square anymore. It can be whatever shape you really prefer, but I like the fluffy cloud. On the other side, does it change? No, because the 3 was only on third. The negative 3 only came out of the right numbers. So now we figure out what's in fluffy cloud. We take our b term, divided by 2, square it. So I get 3 squared, which is 9. Is fluffy cloud the same number as squared? Then I have to remember, somehow that number changes. What did we really add to the left side? It's not just 9. Negative 3 times 9 is negative 27. What is that? Negative 21? I don't know what I'm thinking. Okay, so now inside, we're going to factor that. So it's going to be x, and then whatever you did right before, you squared it. That's the number that goes there. So plus 3. And then we have completed our square. We factored it. There's more copies over there, probably. We lost that side of the page. What should we do now? Divide by what? Negative 3. Both sides divide by negative 3. And we're going to square root. And when you square root, you got to put plus minus in. Is there a square root of 7?
Nope.
Okay. We're going to subtract the 3. Negative 3 plus or minus square root 7. Nothing else I can do. That'll be in my answers.
Can you try 10? Will you try 10? You try number 10. Is it like fluff club? So the you try part is now you seeing if there's something you didn't get. Because when your teacher does it, oh, it just looks so easy, doesn't it?
And you don't know if you don't get it until you've tried it yourself. So you're trying number 10.
Do you have to move something over? Or not? Okay, over there. Okay. You just start with your square. There's a lot of not luck for the fluffy cloud in here. Guess you're using like everything was set. That's alright. Totally use whatever shape you want. Or their shape. So if you got it right, go ahead and try the next one. If you didn't get it right, I'm coming around to check with your mushes. The other one. Oh, there's an X. EX, and whatever, oh, that was your square. What symbol is that? They were symbols mixed together. Okay. I'm going to go show my next steps. Just want to make sure everybody's doing it right. You're going to take on this.
So to get that fluffy cloud, I take 8 divided by 2, and then I square it. That's 4 squared, which is 16. But I don't put 16 over there. I put 4 times 16. 64. And then when I factor it, x plus whatever I had just squared is what goes here. Whatever I just squared is what goes in the factor form. So plus 4. I'm going to divide by 4. Square root. subtract the 4. And then we're trying number 10 or 11 next. Try number 11. If you have questions on the eliminators, whenever pass them, walk around with them. We're trying number 11. So you figured out you factored it wrong here. And then that looks good, except for you probably pushed.
No fancy bracket. I actually know. You forgot before that we took out. Forgot about it.
I'm going to scroll up a tiny bit. Octuna. Where you took out that 4, it doesn't disappear. It's like still out there. So you have to divide by that 4 later. Yeah, the I comes in front of the square. So square, it's like always the last one, right? Except for that. So the I is going to be the I, then the square root, just reverse the order. But yeah, it's right. Okay, so how is this one different than the others? Say that again? Yeah, the other ones did not have parentheses, so we need to get rid of those parentheses because they look like all the other questions. So we're going to start out by distributing. We'll get 6x squared plus 12x. And then I might as well go ahead and put my square in. Equals negative 42 plus a square over here. Now we can't have the 6 in front, so we don't get rid of it. We just factor it out. So then what do I put in my cloud? I take my 2 divided by 2, square it. 1 squared is 1. What do I put over here? Where'd you get a 6 from? You multiply that back in to know what goes over here. Then we're going to factor, and we're going to have 6 parentheses. This is going to be x plus, what did I just square up here? 1, and then square it. Equals, I'm going to add those together, I'm going to get negative 36. What is my next step? Divide by 6, perfect. So now I have x plus 1 squared equals negative 6. What's the next thing I need to get rid of? Squared. But if I square root, okay, so I am square rooting a negative 6. Remember, a negative 6 is the same thing as a negative 1 multiplied by a 6. The square root of negative 1 multiplied by square root of 6. I can take the square root of a negative 1. What's that? But I can't take the square root of 6. Doesn't have any perfect squares in it, so I'm just going to leave it as square root of 6. A lot of you are putting the I last. It's always going to go like a number, then the I, then the square root, like in that order. Plus, minus in front, some other number over here. It's always going to go like the I is in front of the square root, number is always in front of the square root. Square is always last. So we're going to move that 1 over. We'll get negative 1 plus or minus I square root 6. Okay? Question?
If you accidentally switch the number and I and had like I and then the number, would it matter?
No, but do we ever write like x7? No, we write 7x every single time, right? So people look at it and go, that looks really weird, especially when you've seen it for so many years. It just looks weird.
It would be like equivalent to me spelling things wrong.
Okay, we're going to just skip number 12, and we're going to go to example 5. The last kind that we're going to do today is writing equations in Vertex form. Remember Vertex form? Remember that? Next page. Oh no, I lied. On the page. Okay, so Vertex form is written right up here. I'll write it again bigger. Y equals a times x minus h close parentheses squared plus k. We have to know vertex form. That was a requirement of the last test that we took, which I'll get back to you tomorrow on block day. Help me remember. I'll get back to you. That last test that we took, we used vertex form. Remember, we used it to find the vertex. We also used it to do transformations where we could fill out the table really easily and graph this. So being able to take an equation and put it into vertex form is pretty handy. So what we're going to do in vertex form, we're going to do this by completing the square. Well, that's convenient. We just learned how to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write y, and then actually, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move the c term to the other side. I'll move away that 18, but there's a y that's there. So I'm going to keep that y there, y minus 18. I'm going to put plus square equal sign x squared minus 12x plus square. Why am I putting a plus square? Because we're going to complete the square. That's how we're going to get it to vertex form. Now, these are kind of like on different sides than the stuff was on before. If it absolutely bothers you, switch sides. You'll just have to switch it back at the end. So now I'm going to complete the square with the side that has the x squared minus 12x on it. So I'm going to take negative 12, divide by 2, and square it. Negative 6 squared is 36. Why do I not have to have a fluffy cloud?
Because their x doesn't have a number in front of it.
So it's only when there's a number in front other than 1. So we're going to put 36 on both sides. I'm going to simplify the left side. I'm going to get y plus 18 equals, on the right side, I'm going to factor it, x. And then if you're not sure what goes after the x, whatever you just squared goes after x. So what is it? Y
Minus 6.
minus,
Minus
yeah, x minus 6 squared. Okay, now subtract 18 to the other side. It cannot go inside the parentheses. It cannot go inside the parentheses. Bless you. Y equals parentheses x plus 6 squared minus 18. And it's in vertex form. Yes.
What is the positive?
Hold on a second. I made a mistake here too. Up here, when I took away the 18 from both sides, and then I added 36, these simplify together to give you 18. Okay, once you have moved the 18 back over to the other side, it is in vertex form. So now you just have to find the vertex, which is HK. Remember, H, the horizontal, is always opposite. So it says minus 6. It's not minus 6. What is it? 6, and then plus K is still the same sign, negative 18. So that's vertex form and finding the vertex. Okay, when you're ready, turn the page, and then there's 3 of them. I want you to pick 2 of them and try them. There's 3 examples. I want you to pick 2 of those and try. On the next page, there's 3 examples. like 2 of them and try them.
Okay, here's the answers to the 3 questions. Your assignment is on Big Ideas Online, section 3.3, day 2.
You guys have 10 minutes. You got plenty of time to plug it in. Let's put it in the wrong way. It doesn't work. So this is on Big Ideas. So you have to go on Big Ideas and plug those in and see if they're right. Yeah.